Oh, I answered your question, but what you're saying here is that I didn't answer the question from the context that you want me to answer it. But if you really want to go down the road of morality, sure, let's talk about the Ten Commandments. What we're not going to do is glide over the fact that this is replacement theology. And I realize those may be big words that Pastor Billy Bob has never spoon-fed from you from the pulpit. Am I right? But you may want to look it up, because I guarantee you that there are Jewish people who take exception to the fact that the Ten Commandments are going to be in public schools on behalf of Christians. Once again, are we just going to fly by the fact that you're supposed to be under the new covenant? Certainly Pastor Billy Bob talks about that on Sunday. This is clearly religious appropriation. Christians are adapting elements of what they call the Old Testament, which, by the way, is still an active sacred scripture for the Jewish people. And you aren't fooling anyone. We know why you're doing this. Just go look at the comments where I've been talking about the Ten Commandments in the public schools and see how many people have come here to comment. How could she possibly have issue with the moral code that's talked about in the Ten Commandments? Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Whose God is that? It's the Abrahamic God. And in Pastor Billy Bob's version, that's the anthropomorphized, patriarchal, masculinized, pissed off God, who one minute is real happy about unaliving babies, but yet loves me. Somehow, if I pray hard enough to him, he's going to care about my parking space or my sports team winning. But let's continue. Let's remember the Sabbath and keep it holy. How many restaurants you hit on a Saturday? How many trips to Lowe's? You know that's work, right? Oh, wait. It's the new covenant. We're going to change that part, are we? We're talking about Sundays. Better not see your car in a Cracker Barrel after church. So how literal are you going to take these? Just zip on down to honor thy father and thy mother. Not honoring the Sabbath and disrespecting your father and your mother. Do you know what the punishment is? That's right, unaliving. You good with that? You good with that moral code? Oh, I forgot. We're talking about the anthropomorphized, patriarchal, masculinized God who's sometimes really pissed off but seems to also love me. All I've got to say about the graven image is somebody needs to go talk to the Trump cult, because that golden calf that they made at one of their conferences pretty sure violates this. This just got awkward. Guess what the punishment is for that? You guessed it. Now let's zip on down to coveting, shall we? The King James Version says, "Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant." Do you know what those are? Don't you even try to come back with indentured servant. Those are slaves. Well, I'm glad the Ten Commandments covers that, aren't you? Why, you can talk about the other commandments that talk about unaliving, adultery, and stealing, and lying. You better turn that mirror back inside to the Trump supporters and Pastor Billy Bob. Do you know where the majority of abusers of children and women come from? Well, it's not the Sunday drag brunch. It's church. And the data proves it. Go on and pretend that this is about morality. This is replacement theology. This is religious appropriation. This is Christian hypocrisy who's supposed to be living under the new covenant that they preach daily when they want to water down the scripture to rationalize their hypocrisy. This is nothing but Christian indoctrination to get their foot in the public school, to create a Christian nationalist ideology. Nobody is fooled by your actions, but we are truly disgusted by them. Does that answer your question?